My name is Sally. All through high school and college, I had to put up with insults like, as long as I have a paper bag. The choice of boys and then men is extremely limited unless you are beautiful and spread your legs to compensate. I have a very sexy body, slim and trim, with medium-sized breasts. But the thing is, my eyes, nose, and mouth are not quite up to standard. I have the body of my mother and the face of a lumberjack, my father. I love my dad, but a square forehead, big nose, and big ears look better on him than on me. There's not much makeup can do. Alas, it is what it is. As my mom used to tell me, be patient. There's someone for everyone. It's impossible to become immune to insults, but sometimes other people surprise you. I walked into one pizza place to pick up my order and overheard someone among the softball players saying he would need 2 paper bags, one for her and one for him in case hers fell off. Lots of laughter and thumbs up as I waited to pay for my order. A giant over 2 meters tall walked by and said, "Don't mind them, sweetie." He stood beside their table, turned his backside toward them, and farted loudly. As they prepared to make a row, he stared at them threateningly, and they changed their minds. "I suppose you boys owe the little lady an apology." One of them shouted, "Excuse me," but the giant's icy stare forced the other to come toward me. Me and the boys must have had too much to drink. I apologize for the snide comments. "Let me pay for your order," and reached for his wallet. "Thank you, that's very nice. You have a nice smile, I'm Sean." I felt myself blush, and I barely managed to say it. "Thank you again, I'm Sally. Can I have your phone number?" Well, I had my doubts that Sean would ever call me, but I was wrong. Sean wasn't then and isn't now socially skilled, and his looks definitely wouldn't help him get dates. After we found each other, we had a year of courtship, and then we got married. Sean has a way of making me feel special. After one of our dates, we went to Sean's place. I slowly undressed him, kissing everything. I spent time kissing and sucking here and there. He has amazing stamina after he throws his first load. Sean is an architect at a small firm. He's been working there since we got married. The people at that firm aren't big on social gatherings. I currently work for a real estate title inspection company. I've changed several jobs, but I've been here for 5 years since our kids started driving. I am not the eye candy they want to see in front of them, so I don't work with clients. We have 2 boys, both smart, and we were proud to send them to college. We never had the opportunity to save for retirement. If it's not car trouble, it's tuition or home repairs. We live, albeit not from paycheck to paycheck, but almost. We have a very fun group of couples in our neighborhood. There are 5 couples all around our age. We call ourselves a gang. All but one of the couples have children already living separately, and only one has a child who is not yet in college. We have been sharing our trials and tribulations for the past 10 years. There used to be 6 couples, but one turned out to have marital problems, divorced, sold real estate, and moved away. Even though Sean had never had success in dating, as he got older and more successful at work, he began to fancy himself a ladies' man. My girlfriends and the ladies in the gang just roll their eyes when he spews some arrogant nonsense. I don't know why Sean drives a pickup truck with a manual transmission. I think he thinks it makes him look macho. I grew up with a manual transmission, so I have no problem borrowing his truck when I need it. In the summer, I work a flexible schedule, 10 hours Monday through Thursday and 3 days off. I use my Friday to get chores done. Tomorrow, we're having a holiday dinner with the gang. Somewhere in the house, I have a very pretty lace tablecloth from my grandmother. It's stored in a cylindrical tube. So the search began. After thoroughly checking the hallway closets and finding them empty, I moved on to the bedroom closets. In the corner of Sean's closet was the lost tube. I was pulling it out of its mess when I knocked over Sean's shoebox. He hadn't worn them in years, probably since we'd been to his uncle's funeral about 6 years ago. The box tipped over and the shoes fell out. Pulling out the tube, I picked up the box and the shoes and was surprised, no, more like shocked, to find inside one of the shoes several nude photos of a naked lady. I would have been flattered if they were pictures of me, but they weren't. I sat on the bed and struggled with my emotions. My anger helped hold back the tears. How do you determine the age of a photograph? She wasn't a runway model, but I suspect a guy is turned on by any naked lady. She's not young, but younger than me. I started reminiscing about the past, trying to establish any indication of who and when. I decided to make a copy of the photo that best showed her face. I cropped the copy so that it was just a photo of her face. I tried to rule out neighbors by starting to exercise by taking several walks around the block each evening. I had no luck there, but I kept exercising. It also gave me time to think about my next steps. I was beginning to believe that probably the next best area to explore would be his work. I'd pop in there on some random excuse, maybe lunch, just to look at the people in the office. No one matched the picture. I had mixed feelings about it. I wanted to find her, and I couldn't. Our intimate life was largely unchanged. We made love on Saturday or Sunday, and then again in the middle of the week. There wasn't much going on that would shock the neighbors. When I really wanted something special, I could use sex as leverage against Sean. Even after all these years, his stamina is enough for me to experience strong finishes. I had just about given up looking for the naked woman when the next shock hit me. Sean was just standing at the other end of the yard among the people gathered around Jim's pool, yelling as he looked at the TV, which was showing some kind of baseball game. Everyone was in bathing suits. Beer was flowing. The satellite radio in my car stopped working. After hanging on hold for a long time and then talking to someone from customer service in broken English for a few minutes, we discovered that the credit card on the profile had a problem with the expiration date. It was Sean's profile. I found his pants and pulled out his wallet. Having resolved the customer service issue, I hung up the phone. When I clicked on Sean's wallet, it made a funny rustling sound. I waved the wallet like a fan and saw nothing to explain it. I checked again. Yep, the rustling sound was coming right out of the middle. I found a zippered pocket in my wallet, and when I opened it, I found a condom packet rustling. Since I was on the pill, we didn't need condoms. I know I'm no beauty, but I also know I'm not stupid. So here I sit on the bed again, struggling with my emotions. Once again, my anger has helped drain the tears. I had a flash of anger or insight, depending on my point of view. My hobby of crafts and card making ensured that I had a few paints and ink. I found a vial of beautiful emerald green permanent ink. To outline borders and write on my homemade cards, I use a syringe pen with a tiny needle. The pen cylinder can be filled with any color you need. I always empty and clean the pen after each use. Not wanting to get my hands dirty, I put on latex gloves. Just a tiny drop of this stuff leaves a stain on your hands for a couple weeks. I placed the condom on the workbench. Using a syringe, I tried to extract the lubricant, but nothing worked. I mixed a large amount of emerald green ink with what little lube I could extract, then refilled the baggie. I rolled the baggie around, mixing the contents thoroughly. With just a drop of glue and my hot glue gun, I sealed the tiny puncture made next to the open here tear. I wrote in pen on the condom package in tiny letters, "Do not use." There, he'd been warned. I carefully gathered Sean's wallet. Sean would have nothing to worry about if he remained a faithful husband. Not knowing who Sean was sleeping with and when made the wait very agonizing. I didn't want the neighbors to find out anything. What's that old Navy sailor saying? A chatterbox is a spy's catch. I needed to talk to someone about this, so I called my sister, who lives a few states away. I decided to confide in her. She really encouraged me. She thought it was the safest thing I could do. All it required was to be faithful. No mistake, no harm done. Sean and I have a very predictable existence. He gets home around 6, and I follow shortly after. Sometimes we meet at a restaurant before we go home. Sometimes we go out on the town after I get home. And on Friday nights, we always go out to eat. I was beginning to think that whatever it was with could have been a long time ago, and Sean had forgotten about the condom. Knowing the indiscretion was in the past was a different kind of pain, not as searing. My naivete was shattered a few Fridays after I tinted the condom. Take off your clothes. Turn off the lights. You know how self-conscious I am about my weight. I shouldn't have let you take those pictures. Get a condom. My husband and I are trying to get pregnant, and I don't need no little Shauna. Done. The light's off. Give me the condom bag. I'll put it on you. I love it when you do that. Oh, what brand is that? I think it's the same brand as before. Ew, it tastes awful. Put it on yourself. Hurry up. I gotta pick up the kids. I like your breasts and that cute little ass. Kiss me. I'm ready. Give it to me. Sean called around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and said he was going to be late. Then around 6 p.m. he called and said he wanted to work out at the gym. I texted my sister, "I think we have a runner." I should have felt crushed, but I was so proud of myself. I turned on the porch light and also closed the door on the latch. Sean would have to ask me to let him in the house. Almost certainly he'd realize I was the one who ruined his condom. I didn't know if Sean would be cruel. Years ago, we had converted our two-car garage into bedrooms and built a carport in the driveway, parking our cars outdoors. I waited and looked out the window. A car pulled up and parked between our house and the one next door. No one got out. I was a little concerned as this car didn't move for over an hour. Finally, around 8 p.m., Sean pulled into the driveway. His shoulders were slumped as he shuffled to the front door. I could see green spots on his face. His lips seemed greenish, and his palms were a very pretty green color. No sooner had he reached the porch than a man jumped out of a parked car and ran towards Sean. "You son of a bitch, you're having my wife!" he yelled, all the while emptying the pepper spray canister. Just as Sean distracted himself by wiping his eyes, the guy delivered a vicious punch to his stomach. Sean collapsed to the ground, gulping for air. The man began fiddling with Sean's belt. Pushing Sean's hands away, he managed to pull off his pants and underwear. "Try denying it now, asshole!" Then stepped on Sean's balls with all his might. I can honestly say that I have never heard such a loud scream and with such a variety of pitch changes. The dogs in the neighborhood, all barking, must have tucked their tails. When Sean crouched down and grabbed his groin, the man hit him right between the eyes. Sean leaned back motionless. A couple more punches to the groin with no response, then the man walked back to his car and sped away. Speaking of conflict, should we call an ambulance, douse him with cold water to bring him to his senses, boil water and pour it on him, or just turn off the outside lights? No need to give the neighbors an excuse to see this little Martian. I turned off the lights. About 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang. I leaned heavily against the wall. "I need help. I'm sorry, Sally, I've done something terrible. Can I come in?" "Not today, Sean," and closed the door. I heard him yelling, "I can't drive like this. I need to see a doctor." Well, I didn't want the neighbors to get involved, so I walked out the door and said, "Give me your keys and get in the back of the truck. You're not riding in the front with me." Sean was struggling to get into the back of the truck, so I yelled, "Move! I don't have all night!" I drove him to the emergency room, hitting every bulge in the road I could find with the wheel. I tried to shift gears as hard as I could. He threw up on himself really hard. As he tried to climb out of the truck, I hit the clutch and he fell over. Again, those primal screams. Now he's with people who can take care of him, so I drove home. Sean has a lot of keys on his keychain. I put the keys in his favorite shoebox. Around 11:30 in the evening, I got a call from Jill, one of the gang members. She's an emergency room nurse at the hospital. She was euphoric and wanted to know what I was doing and how. She said Sean was going to lose one testicle and the other was badly damaged. Now he would need testosterone therapy to get his little leprechaun up. Since he also had a concussion, they were going to keep him overnight. Jill said that around 1:30 p.m., a lady came into the emergency room with green hands, lips, and tongue. The lady also had green spots in her crotch, abdomen, thighs, butt, and breasts. She was looking for something to remove the ink. Sent away with the words, "The only thing that seems to help you is time," the lady left in tears. Jill and I assumed she had put a condom on Sean, after which she wiped her hands on her stomach and then touched Sean's face and neck. "Jill, I don't think we'll be as a couple at the next slumber party." She laughed. "You think so? Screw you, girl." I called my sister and we giggled like schoolgirls. I know I'm going to have bouts of tears and depression later over the loss of my marriage, but today I felt amazing. I have no remorse whatsoever. I'm going to visit a divorce lawyer on Monday. I'm not going to spend much time in this house anymore. Something good is gone from it. Tomorrow, on St. Patrick's Day, with the tradition of wearing something green, it will be ready to go out. Saturday afternoon, I was shopping when Sean texted, "I need my keys." I replied, "You should have no problem finding them." I found myself the perfect green shirt with the Irish theme, "To me, to you, to love and joy." I'll be loyal to you as long as you are, but not a minute later. I bought it, went to the ladies' restroom, and changed. I plan to wear it as often as I can. Who knows what the future holds for me? I may not be good enough to marry again, but I won't stay married to someone who needs or wants another. Growing up, I realized that a confident and intelligent woman can get a man no matter what she looks like herself. I'll be just fine as my confidence is sky high today.